So let's come into a cross-legged position first. Try to flex your feet so the outer edges of your feet are grounded versus sickling your feet. It's a little bit harder to maintain, but just try. It helps to cross mid-shin over mid-shin versus doing that flared out seat. It's just another option here to keep the knees a little more aligned. Good, and first, before we do anything, just place your hands to cup your knees, relax your elbows, and just close your eyes. Depending on how you feel today, it might be really easy to shift into mindfulness, or it might be a little harder. So please take a moment now to just scan your body. Notice your sitting bones just gently grounding into the floor, meaning we're not sitting behind the sitting bones, just right on top of them. The pelvis in a neutral position, and now try to stack your rib cage more or less over the pelvis. Your head is floating on your neck, with your shoulder blades just dropping down your back. Allow your facial expression to be soft, and just take a deep breath in and out through the mouth. The groin relax a little, maybe scoop the back bone ever so slightly up. Again, deep inhale and out through the mouth. We'll add the hands, place your hands at the heart center. 3 times, we're just going to sweep the arms out, up, inhale, hands at the heart center, exhale, grounding. 2 more. One more. Good, and then that little chest work we do with your hands in Namaste, raise them up a little and tap your elbows together. You have to squeeze your chest muscles in order to get the elbows to touch. Not only is this a stretch for your shoulders, but you're working your chest. Now just begin to pulse your elbows up, holding that imaginary $100 bill between your elbows. So don't let them come apart at all. Pulse, neck is soft. Chest is lifted. Let's do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reach your arms all the way around back. Interlock your hands and squeeze your shoulder blades together. So let's stretch your chest now. Breathing into your collarbones. One more. Excellent. Place your hands back to your knees and tuck your chin in, and ever so slowly roll yourself back so your upper back comes into a big rounding puffy upper back. Now continue and lift your chin and let the spine follow into a big arch. Press your chest forward, rotate, press your low back forward, and one more time, tuck your chin. And very slowly let the spine undulate into a rounding spine. This shouldn't hurt your low back, or don't do it. One more round. Good. Come to a neutral spine and walk your hands forward. All right, let's come back. Extend your right leg out to the right. Slide your right hand down to the right shin and sweep your left arm up over the left ear. Huge side stretch. You're just warming up, so you don't have to go full force into your deepest place. 2 more breaths. Turn your gaze up to the ceiling and then down to the floor. Good. Let's come up. Slide that right ankle behind you and let's come up to wild thing. Lift your hips up, stretch your right arm. Keep that right knee on the floor so you get that quad stretch on the right. 1 more breath. Good. Come back down and just shake out your legs in front of you. Good. Let's cross left shin in front of right, outer edges of your feet grounded. Hands cup your knees. This time, roll the shoulder heads back. Let's retract the chin like you're making a double chin and slowly pivot your head right and left. So be aware that back of the head almost draws back a little. That way we get into the nice trap muscles that tend to be so tight. Just going side to side. Go as slow as or fast as you want. Elbows heavy. Good, now come back to center. Do 1 more round where you lift your chin ever so slightly, right? Raise your gaze and do that again. Drop your head right and left. Now we're stretching the SCM. That can give us really tight jaw when they're tight or a tension headache. 1 more round. Good. Back to center. And let's take the hands back to Namaste and extend your arms forward. Sit on your sitting bones, so ground yourself. And we're just going to do little twists. Reach your right arm way back, look to the right thumb, and bring it back. Let's inhale, bringing it back, and then exhale, rotate. Stretch your shoulders open. Inhale, arm back. Exhale, chest turns all the way right. Inhale back. Exhale left. Head turns, chest turns, 1 more round. Good, come back, inhale. Interlock your hands in front of you. Now rotate the wrists inside out and stretch your arms to the ceiling. Sway side to side. Good, and fold forward once you're back at center. Good, let's come back up. Stand left leg left. Slide your left hand down that ankle to the ankle or shin, whatever you can, and big sweep right arm over the right ear. Breathe into the lower lungs. Always position your body so it feels good for you. It might look very different from my pose, but never compromise your body. 1 more. Good, come up, sweep that left leg behind you, right hand behind you, and lift into wild thing. All right, let's release that. Coming to all fours. Spread your fingers, your hands, and begin to arch and round a few times. When you round, you pull up through the core, tuck your chin. Good. After this last one, come to neutral spine. Stretch your right leg back your left arm forward. Keep your belly braced. Good, and now 5 times, pull elbow back to left hip and knee forward toward right elbow. Do 5 of those. So we're not meeting in the middle, we're staying on the outside. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good job. Back to all fours. Left leg back, right arm forward. Once you feel stable, option, right elbow back to right hip, left knee forward to left elbow. It's about 2, 3, contracting that belly as you pull in. 4, and 5. Good, release back to all fours, tuck your toes under and slowly bring your weight back to the heels. So we have our toes tucked, right? Stretching our feet open. This might or might not feel good. Just adjust yourself forward if it doesn't. If you have 2 free hands, remove your wrists. Good, and I show the next one from the side, so we're also on all fours. We're going lower to the forearms. We're sliding the elbows forward, knees possibly back. Notice my hips are high. And now I'm rocking my weight back. Imagine someone's pulling my hips back, right? Now I just have to adjust my elbows back a little. You don't have to go way forward. Your weight should stay in your knees and your shins. Now I'm rocking back and I can place my forehead on the ground and I get this great stretch in my shoulders. Do this for a moment, either stay put or rock. Work with your breathing to release. Good, now eventually I'll turn forward again. Come back to stacking shoulders over wrists and step yourself into forward plank. First, scoop up your belly and then step back. Now, we have a tendency to round like I'm doing right now because I want to really contract my abs. Now, what if you lift your chest forward, but you keep your abs pulled up? Squeeze your glutes a little. Good, and lay on the belly. I'll turn sideways, you'll be on the belly, and you're going to grab your left ankle. Stretching your quad. You feel free to also turn sideways. You can go deeper if you turn sideways because you don't have the floor stopping you. Reverse to the right leg. Good. Roll onto your belly again and set up a cobra pose. So don't mind me, I'll get out of that, but you're going to be laying flat on the belly, hands by the sides of your chest. And 5 times you're going to lift your head and chest up into a cobra pose. So work with the inhale to lift up, firm your calves, your hamstrings, your glutes, your whole back, and on an exhale, come down. So do it for about 4 more, dragging out your breaths, really tapping in to your strength. We don't need to be very high with our chest to get all those muscles to fire. Good, and just do your 5 and then step back to child's pose for a moment. Good. After child's pose, let's come up to standing. Try my very best to get all the poses on camera here. My head's still caught up, don't mind me. Okay, so step your legs and feet together. Take a moment to stack your skeleton. For some, that means to have the feet slightly apart. Hips over ankles, shoulders over hips. Inhale, float your arms out and up. Exhale, swan dive down. Bend your knees a little. Good. Inhale, lift your chest out, sweep the arms out and up. Hands back at the heart center. Step the feet hip width apart. Good. Arms forward, sit back to chair pose. Scoop the belly slightly in. Now stay option one, or the only thing changing, take your left forearm across your thighs, so lay them over your thighs and reach your right arm to the ceiling. Belly raised, you're still in chair. And then switch, right forearm across your thighs, close to the knees, left arm sweeps up. Good, come back to center into that chair, one breath, inhale. And fold forward, exhale. Shift your weight forward on the feet, lift your hamstrings up, and let your chest drop another ½ inch. Now, step your left foot back so your feet are still hip width apart, and come into a lunge position, runner's lunge, arms up. If you can, look back or just sense your left heel. It should point straight back, not pivot left or right, because that points to your hips not being square. Drive that left heel back, right thigh forward. Breathe. Good, now take your hands to the hips. Spin your back foot in and set up a triangle pose. Right heel in line with left arch. Turn your chest away from the front leg and lower the right hand down. Good, come back up. Hands to the hips. Adjust right foot right a bit and come back to lunge position. Good, just do what you can. Take your hands this time out. And I like to have a slight bend in the elbow. And 6 times you're going to lower the left knee so it almost touches the floor. Don't do this if it bothers your toes or your knee. That's 3, 4. Looking at the floor is easier. 5, 6. Oh, I said 6 times. Good. Hands to the hips. Lean the chest forward and take an elegant big step forward so your feet are again hip width apart at the top of your mat. Hang your arms down and breathe. Second side. Float the arms up. Inhale. Fold forward. Exhale. Take a big step back with your right foot and come up to that lunge position. Tip, when you reach your arms up, don't reach from the shoulders, lift your bicep muscles up. So the shoulders are dropped down the back as your arms can still be straight. Two more breaths. Shine that right heel back. Grip the floor with your right toes. Hands to your hips. Open to your triangle. Adjust your stance. And reach forward. On your next in breath, let's rise up again. Hands to the hips. Move left foot left a little. And as best as you can, rotate to the lunge pose again. Okay, if you wiggle, just get there when you can, arms out. And 6 times, lower your right knee so it's almost touching. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Lean the chest forward and take an elegant step forward. This time to shake it out. All right, so we have warmed up our hips and legs. Come into a mountain pose. Now swing your left arm under the right. Either to stay with that option to go to tree. Hardest option, come to full eagle pose. Wrap left leg over right. The higher up you can wrap the inner thigh, the better your chances of hooking your left toes behind your right calf. And squeeze your legs together, lift your elbows up, sit lower. Whatever you've got here for about 4 or 5 breaths, focus. Become one with your pose. When you're done, mountain pose, recover. Right arm under. Right leg over. And let it go. Roll the shoulders. Relax, stance for a moment. All right, let's turn sideways again. And let's turn into warrior 2. Right foot turns forward, left heel slightly back, arms out. Before you bend your front knee, imagine you're pushing your left heel into a wall. Keep pushing that heel backward and now bend your right knee, which means your left leg is really active. Look over the right fingers. Lower your right fingertips down to the inside of the ankle or forearm to thigh. 4 breaths. Then you scoop that belly button ever so slightly in. Bring it back to warrior 2. And release. Switch sides. Right heel presses against that imaginary wall. Arms out, and then lunge into your left knee. Look over the left hand. As your chest turns away from your left hand, right? Scoop the belly in already and lower your left hand down. Slowly come back and release. Good. I'll just turn to the camera so it's easier to see what I'm doing. So you're in that wide stance. Turn your heels in, toes out. Think of, I think it's called second position, the plie, right, in ballet, which I don't have a background of, but I think this is what it is. It's this stance, but wide, yeah? Hands on heart, and squat down. Good, now interlock your hands behind your head. Raise that core, soften your shoulder blades, and let's do side to side. You don't have to touch knee to elbow or elbow to knee, but I want you to work your side of your core by going as low as you can. Keep the touch of your hands very soft so you don't attempt to tense your neck. So your head is still just floating on the neck. We got 2 more rounds. Go as far over as you can, working those obliques. 1 more round. Come back to center. Option 1, straighten your legs. Option 2, hands at heart. Soft hands. And very mindfully, maybe sense of gratitude. 50 times you're going to squat. 2. Let that heart smile. 3, 4, 5. Grip the floor with your feet. 6. Feel your ankles strong. That's 8, 9, 10. Just 5 more. 11, 12, 13. Squeeze those glutes to press your knees out. 14, 15, and stand up. That's it. Turn your feet to parallel. Shift your weight slightly in front of your heels so you feel your balls of your feet kind of activate, and fold forward. Take this time, even if you keep your knees soft, you want to feel your spine lengthen, your neck lengthen. Good. Hands to the hips. Inhale, rise up. All right, good. Let's step it together, and I want to come to a hero pose. So we work the quads pretty hard. Let's grab a block. Set up hero. Put the block between your ankles. Those of you know hero, just again, the number one thing you want to be careful with here are your knees. So if this still doesn't feel right or your ankles are screaming at you, lay on your belly again and grab your ankles behind you that way. Otherwise, lean back. If you happen to not need your block, you can put it underneath your upper back as you lay all the way back, and just take 5 to 8 breaths here. Good. At the moment when you feel you've had enough of the stretch, carefully come out. And we're going to go right into the opposite direction here. So move that block out of your mat. Step your right foot forward into a lizard so the foot comes to the edge of the mat. Draw your inner thigh slightly toward the midline of your mat before you sink deep, especially if you're really flexible. You want to stabilize your body a little. You want to lower to your forearms, you can. If you want to be here, and as you're gently gravitating your inner thighs to the midline, you want to lift your back knee by tucking your toes and just pressing your knee up without lifting your hips. That's a great stretch too. So where you are, take 4 more. And once you're done, release and switch sides. Do the same variation as you did on the first side. And after 4, let's release and come to all fours. Do a couple rounds of arching and rounding to realign. Two things here, gate pose and then a variation. So take your right foot out to the right, stand up onto your left shin. I'm turning my right toes to the ceiling, so I'm basically just on the back of the heel. And I'll slide your right hand down the leg, left arm over the left ear. Look up or down. Good, come back up. Now pivot the right foot flat to the ground, so your toes face forward like you're standing on your foot. Straighten out the knee and lower it forward and down to the forearm. So you should feel this on your outer ankle and your inner thigh. Now, if you don't feel it on your inner thigh, rotate your tail left and walk your elbows right a little. Just one more. All right, carefully come out of that. And step your left foot out, this time starting with pivoting onto the back of your heel, toes to the ceiling, and side bend left. Back up, rotate the foot flat to the ground, knee straight and lower to your forearms, and then if you want to deepen, tail wags to the right, elbows walk left a tad. And bring it back to center. Good. Rest for a moment, sitting to the heels or however you want to rest here. And then we'll attempt to do camel, a deeper back bend. So most people stand up onto their shins. What you want to do, don't stick your butt out. Get rid of that low back curve. And personally, I find it easier to lean my hips back a little, to activate my quads, and then go back. Please tuck your toes or keep your hands on the hips like such if you feel like this is too much. What the single most important thing that you need to do, rotate your shoulder heads back. Good, come back up and take a quick child's pose. Any type of child that works for you today. Good. Coming into hero pose. If you have tight knees or ankles or hips, come to seated. Otherwise, Let's start right today. Bring right knee behind left. So from the side, you're bringing your right knee, rotate it behind your left, kind of like to the outer left knee, and sit back between your feet. Now we have two stacked knees. If this is way too much, just come to a cross-legged position. You have your belt near you. Here too, we could just point our toes, which is the lazy version, but if you lean back a little and you flex your feet and firm your shins, it's aligning your knees and ankles much more. And I get this much more in the hips when I activate my lower legs. Good. So if you have a belt, grab the buckle with your right hand, stretch that right arm up, left back of the hand comes to the spine. There's a lot going on in this pose, so some of you like to bend left first and then forward. You can also just be upright, just be here maybe for 20-30 seconds, which is really no more than 5 deep breaths. Okay, when you're done, release. Carefully shake out the legs. And now wrap your right leg on top. Go back to all fours if that's easier. Once you've acclimated to this pose here, left arm up, right arm under. And do your variations if you have any. Final deep breath here. And slowly release all that. Shake out your legs. All right, feet may be hip width apart. Slide your left foot to right inner thigh. Make sure you sit evenly on both sitting bones. Inhale, sweep your arms up and fold in. So keeping the spine long, just avoid hanging your head down unless it feels really good as a stretch for the neck, but don't do it every time. What you can do is just lift your chest forward toward the right toes, and that will lengthen out your spine so you don't have to worry about compressing anything. Come back up and step that left foot across your right thigh. Twist right. Think of that upward energy in your spine through the crown. Good, unwind. Feet start at hip width again, and step right foot in. Inhale, arms float up, and fold over the left leg. Come back up. Step your right foot across your left thigh and twist left. Unwind and stretch out your right leg. Good. If you want, grab your block. Don't need one. You can do it without. It just gives an extra layer of engagement here. Step your feet onto the mat. Come forward. Feet on the mat. Lightly place that block between your thighs. Arms forward. And for a moment, just slouch back. So that's what we don't want. I want below your bra line, I want you to lift so your spine is tall. And then lean back and pick up your feet. Pointer flex. Wrap the outer belly inward. Straighten your legs or stay bent knees. 2 more. Good, release. Let go of that block. Drop your knees open. Slide your heels in. And come into your Baddha Konasana. Sitting on the block is an option if you find yourself here. You need to be able, or not need to be able, but try to sit up tall on your sitting bones. Leaning in is an option. Couple more. Good. Now we haven't done double pigeon in a really long time, so here it goes. Bring your left shin across the mat. So bend your left leg and just kind of slide your left foot to the right. And now stack your right ankle on top of that left knee area. If you're here, that's fine. If your knee's up or down, doesn't matter. You're just tight in your outer hip. That's why your knee is higher. You can lean forward a little. You have at least hopefully one block by now. So some people, it helps them if they prop up their left knee. That settles the right side down a little. Or let's say you have a little pinch in the right knee, you can put the block here. Just accommodate yourself. And again, maybe 30 seconds here. Lean in. And let's release. Straighten out your legs for just a moment. And now let's get the left knee on top. All right, when you're done with the second side, come up and we will go into a, let's just try this. Let's do, sorry, let's change this. Let's do fish pose this way. You don't have to, but it's a nice way to set it up from the top. So you would straighten your legs, Lower down to your forearms, adjust your elbows. Make sure your elbows aren't back here and you just crank your neck back. Walk your elbows forward and then lift your chest and let your head fall back. Very careful. This is not for everyone's neck, so if you feel like, oh, that's way too steep, listen to that and set it up from the bottom or on the block. Good, and we'll all be lying flat. And as you're here, bend your knees in for a moment and rock across that sacrum. We'll make some circles. All right, now set your feet on the ground, arms down by the sides. Make sure your chin is not tucked in, nice open throat, and let's lift up to bridge. Slight scoop of the pelvis and then lift up. Now in this one, let's get into the back bend energy. Clasp your hands if you can underneath you. Excuse me. And now take your chest and rotate it to the throat. No need to tuck in your chin. Your chin doesn't move. It's your chest coming toward the throat. So you feel that nice arch behind your heart. Good, and release down. Release down, step the soles of your feet together. Either take your arms into cactus, which are just 90-degree angles in your arms, and breathe, or do snow angels. One more breath. Good. Bring your knees together, arms down by your sides. Let's grab the belt and put it around the right leg. Lower the left leg down. Bring the leg over to the right. Bring your leg up and over to the left. Bring your leg up and switch to the left leg. Lower the leg left. And eventually over to the right. Good. Leg comes back up and release. Good. Hug your knees in. Rock side to side again. And come to happy baby pose. I'm going to sit up, but you're going to stay in happy baby pose. So just for those of you who might not know, I am pregnant and I'm in my second trimester now, so certain things I have to start skipping, or just at least not do for as long. One of them is being lying on the back. All right, so you're still in happy baby pose. Press your heels up gently against your hands as you can press your sacrum toward the floor. Good, now release your legs down. Straighten them out for a moment. Now we do have time for one more thing here. So you're lying flat, put the block underneath your sacrum. Make sure the block is not across the low back. It's literally almost across your butt cheeks, tight, slight bit higher maybe. So that when you now straighten out your legs again and you're completely in a flat position except your hips are raised, this should not pinch your back or your block is too high. Of course, you can do this without a block too. Now, to intensify, you could raise your arms overhead, slide your right foot over to the right, and cross your left ankle on top of that right ankle. You can even grab the left wrist and kind of side bend your upper body to the right. Good, switch sides. All right, release your arms down, legs back to center, and carefully lift off your block. Bend your knees in one more time, hug it in or rock across that sacrum again. So healing for that pelvic area. And now if you want to do the final twist, you can do any one you want, but one is you take your arms out to the sides, you're lying on your back, you keep your knees stacked over the hips and bring your shins parallel. So you have that 90-degree angle, and on an exhale, slowly drop the knees to the right with control. So control with your abs. How slow can you go? And once your knees are dropped as far as they can, turn your head left and take about 3-4 breaths. Now, same control with your abs. Your hands are pressing into the floor a little to come back up. Go back to that initial alignment at the top. Inhale and slowly exhale left. Turn the head right and take 3-4 breaths here. Good. On an inhale, come back up with engaged side body. And then lower your legs completely down. Either for final Shavasana, or if there's anything else you need to do to adjust, go for it. And then Shavasana. The difficulty of Shavasana is that we can't bring into the Shavasana time what's going on around us right now, mentally, environmentally, physically. Just drop into your body. Cultivate that sense of patience and the ability to just be still and be with yourself for a moment. So practice that now. Relaxing the body into the floor. If you're carried into the future or the past, just bring yourself back into the present moment on your mat. Now, if you're still with me for another moment, I want you to think of how healthy you are right now. No side trailing thoughts, just take that thought in. I am healthy, I am well, and let it spread into every cell of your body, convincing your body and mind how healthy you are. Feel it. Seal it all in with a deep, calm breath. Wiggle the fingers, the toes. Now reach your arms overhead, point your toes, make your body long. Release your hands down, bend your knees in. Once again, rock. And roll over to your favorite side. And come up to seated pose. Take your hands together at the heart and once more connect to that vibrant health and energy you have right now. Namaste.